Um, that's gonna be a big hug. That's gonna be a big one. When I first got contacted about being here tonight, I didn't think, well, what do you wear to the memorial service of a guy? um, so I was concerned about it, but I thought, Blaine's a little rock and roll. He needs to change into Bat Blaine, absolutely. But our next speaker, Susan Grecian, did not doubt for a moment what she would wear. And you'll see, where is Susan? Susan, wait, come on up, Susan, come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Grecian.
I love you too. Thank you, Johnny, for covering so much of what I had to cut out of here because I knew you were going to do it. I really appreciate that. All right. Scene, 1984. My mom drops me off at the Borchard Community Center for a teen dance. Full of excitement and hairspray, I bounce through the door with that waft of wonder so tangible at age 13. That resonance, the large empty room, the walls echoing the anticipatory promise of everybody wants to rule the world, is something that can still titillate the hairs on the back of my neck. Chose that word for Blaine. As the room fills with bodies and the music swells around us, something is happening. We are out there on our own, creating the connections that are going to form our young adult beings outside of our responsibilities, crafting our sensualities and our witty repertoire, and choosing the music that represents who we are in this primed fuse phase of existence. The mood slows. Center stage stands one who will light that fuse and epitomize what spiritual connection will ultimately come to mean to me. Rhythmically, he sways me through saving a prayer. The amalgamation of all the dances we've shared is as alive in me right now as it was at that moment. The amplitude of his glide and the way he kicks his toes out at the apex of every rock. I can feel his bracelets crushed into my wrist as he holds my hand firmly, and the others press against my back. I breathe in that intoxicating concoction of polo cologne, jean, leather, and just the essence de Blaine. And our lifelong adventure begins. The mood, this night and many nights after bring me back to this scene, be it a dance that the boys are DJing, gigs, clubs, concerts, amusement parks, parties, all of those things we love to do with Blaine. Always that same excitement. To arrive, to revel, to flirt, to cavort, and to Denny's! We existed in a little musical microcosm that was in fact the whole world worth living, or shall I say the world worth being alive for. We progressed in antics and romantics. I do recall scribing a Mrs. Susan Alexander on a peachy folder or two. And yet our future was destined for something different. A romance for certain, but one that through watching each of you share and react, I realize is one that we've all experienced with Blaine in a way. It's been 31 years since Blaine entered my heart, and he has his own extravagantly decorated pedestal there. This represents not only our friendship, but the deeply rooted pathways that Blaine becomes part of a person. Undeniably, we built a lifelong friendship, and one of the closest and most potent I've known. one on which I've spent incalculable hours pondering, reminiscing, and honestly analyzing. Many of them, in fact, all of them, over the last month. I couldn't do anything but think about him, and think about this, and think about, what can I possibly say? Or how can I possibly pare it down? So this is going to be a little long, just hanging in there, all right? So I spent agonizing over how to properly convey all that needs to be said about him, and how I can possibly summarize all he means to me, all I've learned from him, all the history we have experienced with our family of friends. I could go on for days with stories and anecdotes, but ultimately I don't think that that is my purpose here today. On a parallel course to our personal relationship, I am enchanted by Blaine's unique legacy as a vanguard, a guide, a child, a goofball, a self-proclaimed slut of pop culture, an artist, an affable, accident-prone, cross-dressing ladies' man, a card-carrying Aries, and a many eons-lived shaman of open-minded perspective. It is this Blaine that I wish to visit in each of you here today. So when I met Blaine, his most pronounced alternative visual cue to the world that he was not part of any identifiable crowd, and one that went far beyond remedial fashion statements, I think you'll agree, were his bracelet-sheathed forearms. Today, this seems acceptable on even a grade school playground, surely because Blaine started it. But then in retrospect, an unusual thing to see on a boy of age 17, or adults led me to believe. Not my mom, by the way, who loved Blaine from the word go. As we moved through the years, I've gleefully watched as he adorned himself with whatever the hell he pleased at the recourse of no one for no apparent reason whatsoever, other than maybe a little shock value. Truly, he is the inventor of his own style, which received equal disdain as adoration from the general populace. Within those two groups, he had a huge advantage over someone common-looking, in that before you even get close, you are already visually having a deeper emotional response to him than you would to most people. Here is the next step in his sorcery. You are either drawn to know more, we'll get to you in a moment, or you stand back, maybe judge, possibly scrutinize, or just wonder. However, you see that others are compelled. He talks like a normal person. In fact, his voice is deep and melodic. I can't do a good Blaine. Should have Brady come up here and do that. Like the single chord strum in that song you catch yourself singing repeatedly. He has a hearty and alluring laugh, the kind that incites you to eavesdrop into what is so funny that makes this creature laugh so enticingly. You walk over to someone you saw speaking to him moments ago and you ask, "Hey, what's with the guy with all the bracelets?" The answer you receive is so impassioned you feel your guard waver. That someone says, "That guy? Oh, that's Blaine. Oh, you have to meet Blaine." And off you are dragged across the room to where that bracelet-clad hand is thrust towards your groin in a manner that astonishes you, as somehow you feel as aroused as you are bewildered. You say something stupid because you just don't know how you got here, and Blaine laughs, that goddamn gorgeous laugh, while he contorts his hand into that three-fingered cage as he covers his guffaw. At the same time, he still insists that you shake his damn hand. That's it, you're in. You don't know where you are, nor that you want it in, but you did it. You've arrived at the dimension beyond the sight and sound of him. It's a dimension as vast as Comic-Con and as timeless as Star Wars. It's the middle ground between a lightsaber and the shadows of Mordor, between science fiction and superstition, and it lies between the pit of your fears and the summit of your knowledge. Here, you will see the world in Technicolor. Life is more frantically immediate and filled with a new universe of delightful and engaging characters who will enrich your very being, all because you crossed over into the Blaine Zone. Now, for those of you who are piqued with fascination, starstruck, or are just drawn to shiny things, you engage with Blaine, and quickly you experience this strange sensation. This tunnel vision consumes you. You cannot hear or see another being about 5 minutes into the conversation. Blaine has this gift to completely bypass small talk and get instantly to something meaningful, even if that meaning is the sequence of numbers in Lost, or how Mickey Mouse's ears even if that meaning is the sequence of numbers, I'm sorry I said that, or how Mickey Mouse's ears slide on his head, whether you're looking at his face or his profile. Meaningful. At least he can make it feel that way. So meaningful, in fact, that you find yourself resentful of any distraction or disturbance in this force. Like a corkscrew, he begins winding his way downward toward your soul, and so quickly is he able to reach in and pop the cork that is holding in your normalcy, your boringness, your appropriateness. Be damned, all these shackled cages, as within no time at all, you are inevitably going to be sitting with Blaine, naked, in the backseat of someone's car at a drive-thru, ordering a spicy, crispy chicken sandwich. Or sitting in a tree, drinking beer at a police station parking lot, or running naked across the 101 freeway. So, I like to use the word sorcery referring to his power because Blaine possesses a prevailing wizardry, but sorcery implies intent. Having long contemplated the mystery of Blaine, I have ultimately seen that he has always been very little about calculation and very much about the moment. He is the epitome of something you didn't know you needed until you got it, and then you ache to be without. Because he is so unique in his approach to damn well everything, he quickly engages you, finding almost instantly something you can connect on and virtually setting it to music you can dance to together. Being close to him allows you to free yourself, to open up your barriers and think, feel, and be in this moment and nowhere else. For most, sustaining this is fleeting. It would be like attending a rave 24/7. So to have the mystical threshold so easily accessible makes being in his presence quite desirable. He's like a concoction of addictive juices that feed your imagination and call out the child inside of you. Sometimes it will have you walking away supremely gratified, and sometimes mortified at what your inner child is capable of. But he will never make you feel any way other than real about it. He too feeds off of your experience, like some alien life form nourished through your human sensations. This in the moment is the root of the marvelous as well as the loss you feel when you're away from him. He's able to make your experiences his own and his yours. It really sums up quite perfectly into one word: passion. Passion is the fuel of life, and he has, even now, a limitless credit on his petrol account, and he's given you the number. I have a letter from Blaine where he wrote, "I just love things that people are passionate about, or rather, I love seeing that passion in someone. It's easy to see that his gift is the ability to use his passions to ignite others, and in doing so, create his own self-sustaining passion supply." Can you think back to a story, a Blaine story, anyone, it doesn't matter? His delivery, always hearkening the prelude of, "I'd like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey." Never one of boastful anecdotes, but one of adventure, discovery, triumphs and foibles, hilarity and debauchery, equally stocked with successes as failures. Whether it was making his brother leave work and travel quite a distance when he got a flat and had no spare, only to learn when Britain arrived, where spares are typically kept in cars. Or eluding the police after TPing the home of a girl he likes. Let's not forget the smoke bomb for added effect. Where are you, Richard? Or coming to a screeching halt on the freeway to get someone to rid the car of a spider. He wasn't just telling you a story, but inviting you to feel it too, and feel it you do. So much so that his story becomes a part of you, and like one of your own memories, suddenly you are the one who missed the bus for the field trip, where your frenemy was going to have unadulterated access to your crush, and you called in a bomb threat to your elementary school. In hindsight, not the best plan, since the bus wouldn't come back for a bomb threat, and your mom was pissed. Do you remember the time you snuck backstage at the Love and Rockets show, got in an altercation with the security guard who threw you out and warned that he'd be watching for you? You were so clever. You gathered pieces of clothing from cool people, because that's what you do, dressed as a girl, and walked right past that guy. No damn way you're missing Daniel Ash. Fuck yeah. All right, another endearing Blaine virtue. Why do we all want to buy that man so many toys? Why is it that wherever we go, we find things Blaine would love? Well, here's another thing I've learned about joyful side of humanity from him. And again, not something he actively taught, just some sparkle-laden fallout. It truly stands as a testament to how passion and positive perspective are downright infectious. Blaine exudes such an irresistible fervor about even the smallest thing. He's equally as likely to convince you that stealing your jewelry and showing up wearing it is as much of an honor as him parting with one of those bracelets. Giving something to him is the antithesis of altruism. The immediate reaction you have is so utterly rewarding that it creates nothing slight of a Pavlovian response. Why? Because he's so dang much fun to give something to. Take this lesson home, get out your thank you cards, and gush over the last 50 people who've given you even a genuine smile. Gushing is Blaine's gregarious gratitude poured all over you like a rainbow-puking Teletubby.